A student disappears. The arrest of Rumeysa Ozturk. Rumeysa Ozturk was a PhD student, bright, engaged, and passionate about her research. She was a familiar face on the Tufts University campus. Then, she vanished. On March 25, 2025, 6 plainclothes officers approached Ozturk. She was walking home near her apartment in Somerville, Massachusetts. The officers grabbed her. They restrained her. They did not identify themselves. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare. News of the arrest spread like wildfire. Confusion reigned. Fear took root. Who were these officers? Why was a seemingly ordinary student targeted in such a brazen manner? The answer, it turned out, lay with the Department of Homeland Security. And their reasons were shrouded in secrecy. This wasn't just an arrest. It was a disappearance cloaked in whispers of national security, and it would send shockwaves through the entire university community. Whispers and shadows. The government's case against Ozturk. The DHS accused Ozturk of grave offenses. They claimed she was engaged in activities in support of Hamas. This, they alleged, posed potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Big words, serious accusations. But the details? Non-existent. No specific charges were filed. No evidence was presented publicly. It was an accusation made in the shadows. Secretary of State Marco Rubio added fuel to the fire. He claimed Ozturk's alleged activities threatened national security. But again, no concrete evidence was offered. The lack of transparency was deafening. It left many wondering, what was the real reason behind Ozturk's detention? Was this a legitimate security threat, or was something else at play? Tufts University was blindsided. They had no prior knowledge of the arrest. They had no information about any investigation. They were as much in the dark as the rest of us. University President Sunil Kumar made it clear, Tufts had no part in this. They did not share any information with federal authorities about Ozturk. He condemned the arrest. He pledged support for her. But there was a problem. Ozturk's visa was revoked. The reason? You guessed it, the same vague accusations. It was a bureaucratic nightmare. Tufts was caught in a web of suspicion and secrecy. They were left to pick up the pieces. They had to reassure their students, especially the international ones. The message was clear. This could happen to anyone. A cloak and dagger operation, the arrest and transfer of Rumeysa Ozturk. The arrest itself was chilling. Grainy surveillance footage told the story. Plainclothes officers, no badges, no warning. They surrounded Ozturk. They grabbed her. Her face contorted in fear. Once they had her, they covered their faces. A chilling reminder, this was no ordinary arrest. This was a forced disappearance disguised as law enforcement. It got worse. A court order was issued. It prevented Ozturk's removal from Massachusetts, but the government ignored it. They claimed she was already outside the state. A lie, as it turned out. Ozturk was transferred to a place far from home, to the Central Louisiana Ice Processing Center in Basel. A place notorious for its harsh conditions. A place designed to break spirits. Section 5. A voice for Palestine, Ozturk's activism, and potential motives for detention. Rumeysa. Ozturk wasn't just a student, she was an activist. She spoke out against injustice. She advocated for Palestinian rights. She criticized Israel's policies, and she did it all openly, publicly. She co-authored an op-ed. It was published in the Tufts student newspaper. The topic? The university's response to calls for divestment from companies tied to Israel. It was a call for justice. It was a call for accountability. Her brother believes this is why she was targeted. Her activism, he says, made her a target. It painted a target on her back. The government remained silent. They offered no explanation. But the timing was suspicious. The lack of transparency was deafening. Was this about national security? Or was it about silencing dissent? Section 6. Fighting for freedom, Ozturk's legal battle begins. Masha Khanbabai, Ozturk's attorney, wasn't backing down. She filed a petition. It challenged the legality of Ozturk's detention. She demanded access to her client. Ozturk was being held incommunicado. No phone calls, no visits. Khanbabai feared the worst. Was Ozturk being mistreated? Was she even aware of the fight for her freedom? There was another problem. Ozturk needed medication. It was essential for her health. But in detention, she was denied access. Her health was at risk. Khanbabai vowed to fight. She would use every legal tool available. This wasn't just about Ozturk. It was about due process. It was about the right to a fair trial. It was about the very soul of American justice. Section 7. A cry for justice, public outrage, and international response. The news of Ozturk's arrest spread quickly. It reached beyond the walls of Tufts. It sparked outrage. It ignited protests. Hundreds gathered at Tufts. They demanded her release. They carried signs. They chanted slogans. They refused to be silenced. The Turkish government got involved. They were monitoring the case. They were providing consular services. They were offering legal support. The message was clear. The world was watching. The pressure was mounting. This wasn't just an American issue anymore. It was an international incident. Section 8. Echoes of Fear. Similar cases and a chilling pattern. Ozturk's case wasn't an isolated incident, it was part of a disturbing trend. Foreign nationals, affiliated with U.S. universities, detained for alleged ties to terrorism. The echoes of past cases were deafening. Mahmoud Khalil, a student at Columbia University, detained, transferred to Louisiana. Badar Khan Suri, a student at Georgetown University. The same fate. The pattern was clear. The government was targeting foreign students, especially those who dared to criticize U.S. foreign policy. Fear spread through campuses. International students felt vulnerable. Were they next? Was academic freedom under attack? Section 9. The Price of Dissent. International students and the future of academic freedom. Rumeysa Ozturk's case is a watershed moment. It raises critical questions about national security, about free speech, about the treatment of foreign nationals. It sends a chilling message. Dissent comes at a price, especially for international students. Their very presence in the U.S. is precarious. Their visas hang by a thread. Universities are supposed to be havens for free thought, places where ideas are debated. But what happens when those ideas are deemed a threat? The future of academic freedom hangs in the balance. Will the U.S. continue to welcome scholars from around the world, or will fear and suspicion prevail? The answer lies in our collective response. Will we stand by and watch as freedom is eroded, or will we fight for the right to speak truth to power? The choice is ours. Thanks for stopping by today, Hot Reels. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give it a like. Your support helps us bring you more amazing content. Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Pinterest, and Threads for the latest updates and trending reels. Subscribe now and be part of the fun.